What is good, YouTube? This your boy Aaron.
It's Brian.
This is the Courtside View podcast, and we are back today, and we discussing the NBA. Whew! Oh my God, we got a lot to discuss on the court, off the court. Here we go. First of all, I want to get positive. I want to be positive. Stephen Curry, 4,000 threes made is insane. He already broke the record. He's up over 1,000. Next to the second most person with the most three. I think it's Reggie Miller or Ray Allen, excuse me. That's insane. 4,000 threes. Did you know that out of the games with 10 plus threes made by one player, he has 26 of those games where he's made 10 plus threes.
Did not know that,
Yeah,
but I'm not surprised.
That is a lot. If I can find... It is 26 games out of, if I can find it, 97. 26 out of 97 games.
We're gonna do some quick math. 26. That is 26%.
Actually, that would be 98 now, cause
98.
Yeah,
okay.
because when I searched it up, it said 25. But he actually has 26, so that would be 98 games. So 26 out of 98 games, he has over 10 threes.
Over a fourth of the stat belongs to Steph Curry.
That is insane. Stephen Curry, greatest shooter we ever seen in NBA history.
We'll never see another shooter
like
Steph Curry.
No.
That boy has like that. It's not possible to shoot as good as he had, and especially even though the game is leaning towards 3-point. I don't think we'll ever see another Steph. Like, he has, like, that is genuinely superhero-like ability he has, the way he's accurate with that basketball. It's crazy.
Him and LeBron. LeBron has the 50K milestone. Stephen Curry has the 4,003 milestone. The fact that they're both playing in the same era at the same time is remarkable to see, and we have to appreciate that. So, just wanted to get the positivity out the way. Let's get to the game. So, Tuesday night, big game. OKC versus Wednesday, OKC versus Boston. No Jalen Williams, no Kristaps Porzingis. And yet,
they still won.
They still won convincingly, and they were fantastic. Gils Alexander had a fantastic game.
34 points.
Yeah, man.
Over 50%.
Yeah. Just looking at the stats, 118 to 112. Chet Holmgren, 23 points, 15 rebounds, 3 for 6 from 3, 8 for 14 from the field. Gils Alexander, you mentioned, 34 points, 11 for 20 from the field, 10 for 11 at the free throw line. I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh, you're a free throw merchant. We don't care. We don't care. Just watch the games, watch the film, and you'll see he's talented. 7 assists, 5 rebounds. And then we have Lou Dort. 13 points he chipped in. Casey Wallace, 14 points. The bench also pitched in was Isaiah Joe, Hartenstein, 11 points. Williams with 10 points. They had guys contribute from the bench in the starting lineup. Even without Jalen Williams, they were able to win on Boston. Jaylen Brown didn't show up this game. He was nowhere to be found. Only 10 points. Derek White had 22. Al Horford had 18. Jason Tatum had 33. But Drew Holiday only had 9 points. But Jaylen Brown, let me tell you something, because people forget. The Celtics and the Thunder actually played earlier in the season.
Yes, they
January as well. And the Thunder won. The Thunder won 105-92. This was not a back-to-back for Boston. They had a day where they can rest in between, and they were fully healthy. And when they went to OKC, they got their ass whooped by the Thunder. And let me tell you something. I'm looking at the stats right now. Jaylen Brown, he had a better game. 8 for 19 from the field, but only 21 points. Jason Tatum, 26 points, 7 for 17 from the field. Kristaps had 19. Derek White had 11, but it wasn't enough against OKC. OKC was able to hold Boston to only 92 points that game. And OKC had 105 points. And just looking at the stats, Shea, 33 points. Everybody else was pretty much relatively mediocre. Jalen Williams only had 10, but that defense was fantastic. And this is both teams when they're healthy. So all these people that are skeptical of the Thunder, that don't believe the Thunder are good enough to beat the Celtics or any other team, they just made a statement.
I saw a quote about that. Like, I forgot who said it, but they said no one would be scared of the Thunder in the playoffs.
It was Brian Windhorst.
My God, is there an incredible amount of disrespect for this team? And Mad Dog, it's not just you. I hear it every day. I hear it implicitly from other people I talk to in the league. I hear it implicitly from players out there who are like, yeah, we'll be all fine with on the same side of the bracket as Oklahoma City.
Yeah, like he said, no one would be scared.
He said that players from different teams, I think in the Western Conference, have said if we get the Thunder, that we're not going to be afraid.
They're stupid.
I know.
And I think it's basically because of pedigree. They don't have the pedigree or whatever. But, like, they're clearly the most talented team in the West. You should be afraid to go up against them. They got these young dudes. They will run you out the gym.
You know what's dangerous about them? They have so many guys that can defend on the perimeter. When you look at...
I do think they should get another creator. They need someone that can create their own shots.
Look at how they're defending Boston. They have Kaysen Wallace. They have Lou Dort. You could put... when Jalen Williams comes back, you could put him on him. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. They have so many. And then Chet, he can move too.
Yeah.
He can move on the perimeter. So you have like 5-6 dudes. And then you got Alex Caruso. Bro, they have so many dudes that can guard the perimeter. It's not fair. I can't think of another team in NBA history that has so many dudes that can guard the wing and can guard the guard position. And that can switch. I can't think of another team like that in NBA history that has those many players that you can say, hey, I need you to guard the wing. I need you to guard the perimeter. I need you to switch. And they're fine. It's insane. They got like 5-6 dudes.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable. Boston don't want to face OKC.
They really don't.
They don't.
No, I don't think any team wants to, honestly.
They don't want to face
I don't care what
OKC.
Brian Windhorst said. No one. This is clearly like the best team roster-wise in the NBA. In my opinion, they're clearly the best.
When I was looking,
I know the people, but we're missing
Yeah.
Kristaps. Well, yeah, they didn't have Jalen. That's literally their number 2 option. Kristaps is what, 3?
He is. I will say, Kristaps. He is very important.
He is
with spacing wise and also protecting the paint. But Jalen Williams is their number 2 player.
Exactly.
And they still walked them out of town in OKC. They won by double digits, and they held them to under 100 points when Kristaps was there. They had everybody available. Nobody was hurt that game for the Boston Celtics.
The Celtics shot horrible from 3. 61 threes, and 63 threes. You made 20 of them.
And against the Thunder in January, they only made 9 of 46.
Mm.
I don't think that's a coincidence. I just think
It's
they're
not.
just great defensively.
Yeah.
Man.
Live by the 3, die by the 3. Jaylen Brown, you got to show up in these kind of games. Mr. Finals MVP. People doing all this trash talking with Tatum. Tatum showed up in them 2 games. 33 points, 26 in the other one. Good efficiency.
This is going to be a challenge for Boston.
Yeah. OKC is such a tough team to guard, man, because Shai just he like, who can guard Shai 1-on-1?
Nobody.
Like, pause on this, but the penetration he gets alone is enough to just collapse defenses.
And he's so hard to defend because he's
not
to draw foul.
and he's not small. He's like 6'5", 6'6".
6'6". Tall dude.
He'll work you in the post. He will just get a bucket. People say, "Oh, he's foul baiting." So he's playing his leverage to me.
I will say there was some clips.
Some stuff I was like, okay, he did just jump into Westbrook like that. I ain't gonna lie.
No, that was terrible.
But a lot of times, don't foul him.
Yeah, don't foul him. You know, I remember when I was playing when I used to play 2K and I was creating my player. I kid you not, before Shai was even Shai, like that's how my guy was like. He would really play like Shai. And I remember, I think he was still on the Clippers, and I would play the Clippers and I would play against Shai, and I'm like, he played just like me. What the hell? Like, he's posting up guys, turn around, fade away, hitting mid-range shots. I'm like, what? what is this? Like,
Playing
he
with
plays
pace,
just
like,
me.
yeah.
Yeah. So it's just funny how it translates into real life, and he's just playing that game, and he's been great. He's averaging over 30. He's in the running for MVP easily in the front line of MVP, and the dude is just great, man. I love his game. If you don't like his game, then you don't like basketball, because he does everything right. Yeah, you could say, oh, he foul baits this, foul baits
And these
that.
would be the same people that say there's too many threes being taken. You literally
I will
got your
say
poster
60
child.
I will say 61 threes is kind of crazy. For Boston,
Yeah.
61 threes is kind of crazy. Like,
No. I'm just saying the same people that will be like, we're tired of all these 3-pointers. Will give like, oh Shea, he just ref baits. He's a foul baiter and all. He's just free throw merchant. Like what do y'all want exactly? Like y'all clearly don't like basketball.
OKC is one of the best watches in the NBA.
Yes.
They play the game right. They don't solely rely on a 3-pointer. They actually utilize the mid-range a lot. If you like basketball, you should watch OKC.
And they play defense.
They play. Oh my God, they play defense. Yes, they do. Man, they're just
Young team, play defense. They got a young star. Like what's the problem here? What's not being connected with the audience? Like I don't understand. This should be a team everyone should be rallying around and trying to be rooting for on the low. Even if that's not your primary team. But now it's just like definitely something shifted in the fandom since the early 2010s and before.
I will say that the key for this team is always going to be Jalen Williams. If he shows up, if he can be that number 2 to Shea's number 1, then they're unstoppable. But if he shrinks, if he doesn't show up, if he doesn't become that 1B to 1A to Shea, then a lot of teams, I wouldn't say a lot, but like some teams, they can take advantage of it, especially if it's a very ugly, defensive-minded game. Teams can really take advantage, especially if you have 2 stars. So that's the danger of OKC.
And let's not, the Nuggets did beat them the other night, put up 140 points on them.
They did. Although it was a back-to-back, but at the end of the day, you have a point. The Thunder at this point, Jalen Williams, he has to show up. If he shows up, then I don't think any team can beat them really. That's the difference.
I just hope they go into the playoffs and ready to kill.
I think let me ask you, the best of OKC versus the best of Boston, who do you think wins?
Best versus best.
Yeah, best versus best.
I think I still say Celtics.
Yeah, probably too.
Yeah.
I would say that because of the 3-pointers.
Because the best of best, I believe the top 2 players can go off for 30 a night. Best of best, 30 a night.
Yeah, because Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. I love Jalen Williams, but he's not.
He's not.
The only guy that can match Jason Tatum is Shea.
Yeah.
And I will argue that maybe Shea is at this point a little bit better than Jason Tatum, just a little bit, but they kind of offset each other. While with Jaylen Brown and Jalen Williams, it's not even close.
Yeah.
So
I think the best of Drew is better than, who's the Caruso? I guess. Lou Dort. Yeah.
Lou Dort.
Over Drew?
No, I'm just saying in terms of comparisons.
Okay. Like the way that the role they play. Okay.
Drew is definitely better.
Yeah. And like I like Chet. I think the best of Chet would be better than Porzingis when he gets there. I don't think he's there yet.
Okay. Well, again, I just wanted to ask you on that.
No, that's good. No, that's a good question though.
But anywho, moving on. Let's we talk about the good, bad, and the ugly. Real quick, this is real quick because I feel like this subject matter doesn't need a whole long discussion. But the Lakers, ever since they lost LeBron, Jackson Hayes, Roy Hashimura, 3 starters, they've been losing. We're on a 4-game.
Y'all was fighting last night though.
We did against the Nuggets. We did. Dalton Connect and Austin Reeves, they showed up. Unfortunately, Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic happened. And we lost that game. But 4-game losing streak. Hopefully the Lakers get back home. Some of those guys come back. LeBron, he's going to be out for another week, which is not surprising.
Oh, did that just come out? Because I thought he was day to day.
Yeah, no, he's day to day, but more than likely, I think Shams, he said he's probably going to be out for like maybe another week.
Okay.
So, and you got to remember, he got injured
That was like 8 days ago.
Saturday.
But yeah.
It was a Saturday against Boston, so maybe against Chicago he'll come back, which is the 22nd, I believe. So I just want Roy and Hayes, please come back. We keep hearing this thing about it's like a knee injury or something, but they never specify exactly what it is. It's just a knee injury. Okay, is it sprain? Is it contusion? Like, what is it? Is it a partial tear?
Yeah.
They never.
Y'all really are bad at like revealing what the hell injuries
that's
are.
our medical staff for us. They don't specify on anything. They just go off of, hey, he will 2 weeks. And then we'll get back to another evaluation. Like, what?
What does that mean?
I know. It's just like, hey, 2 weeks, and then the guy will be evaluated again, and then we'll give another assessment on his timetable for return. Like, damn, bro. Like, it used to not be like that. It used to be like, he's out for 4 to 6 weeks, so we should expect any time from 4 to 6 weeks. Now we don't even know. It's frustrating. But regardless, I'm not too concerned because I know what this team is when healthy.
Mm.
I see the Stephen A's. I see all these analysts are worried about the Lakers. That is just for clicks. That is just for views. They do this all the time. Tim Legler saying, man, they're not as physical without LeBron. Duh. It's LeBron James. They're not as good without LeBron. Duh, because it's LeBron James. The most boneheaded stuff. Yes, they're not going to be as good when you lose a arguably still top 5 player in the NBA, and then you lose a starting center. You lose a starting power forward. Duh. You're going to not be as good when you lose 3 starters. People just boneheaded. And then the schedule. We have 10 games in or 8 games in 6 days? Like, it's a crazy schedule. It's a crazy schedule. You expect us to win every single game? I don't, especially with all the injuries. That is just dumb. So, of course, we're not going to play as well. Of course, we're going to punt the road trip because we don't have all our people. It just makes sense. Against the Bucks, we need Jackson Hayes. We need Jackson Hayes because that game boiled down to the lack of size. Even when we came back, the Bucks just had an answer because we don't have the size. Alex Len is the worst center in the NBA by far. He is garbage. He should not be in the league. He should be overseas somewhere, Shanghai Sharks or something, because he's just not good. He's not athletic. He has poor hands. He has no footwork to speak of. No offensive game, no defensive game. He is just horrible. And I hate to say that for a Maryland alum, but he is garbage, and he needs to go. I'd rather have Jamison or Koloko be our center compared to a guy that should never see the floor ever again. He is, at best, a water boy. That's how bad he is.
Water boy is crazy.
He is a water boy. Or he should be wiping the sweat off the floor, one of those dudes, because he should not be dribbling a basketball or touching a basketball. I don't even want him to touch a basketball.
Dang.
That's how bad he is. The guys, they'll, I forgot what they call it, let's say, they want to change the basketball or something. You have that guy.
The equipment guy.
The equipment guy. I don't even want him to be the equipment guy. That's how bad he is. Just go away, go to some far land and play basketball, but not in the NBA or even Canada. I don't want to see him. All right. Anywho, we're going to switch to another topic because that's all I wanted to say on that matter. But
I will say this.
Go right ahead, man.
LeBron at 40 years old still can't be your best player.
I mean, I wouldn't say he's our best player. He's close. It's close, though. It's close, though. Luka, hey, man. Luka dropped 45.
He had a great game.
That man. Luka. When he's healthy, Luka is, come on now. Stop. Let's stop.
LeBron's been playing the better.
No, he has. I'll give you that. But Luka, man.
He's getting there. He's getting there. He still got to find his shot because sometimes I'm like, oh, my goodness.
But let's not act like Luka ain't.
Of course, Luka's very good, but I'm just saying LeBron is still like.
Yeah, LeBron. I mean, but LeBron's having.
I told you he's a super soldier.
First team All NBA season, that's great, man.
He's a super soldier. That's why.
Yeah. All right. All right, here we go.
Back to the off the court nonsense in this week's edition of NBA is a soap opera.
NBA media, new media, every week something is going on. So here we go. I think I'm going to start with Shaq. Let me get my notes.
Let's address the elephant in the room.
Let's address that first because let's go chronological order.
Okay.
So Shaq went on his podcast and they were talking about the Pistons. And I forgot the dude's name. He does stuff for, I think maybe Bleacher Report at one point. He is the co-host of Shaq's podcast, and he mentioned just how good the Pistons have been so far. And Shaq, he was like, I'm not really impressed with the Pistons.
First, he said it doesn't matter because they was 4 games under 500.
Which was false.
Yes. They actually were 6 games above 500 at the time. And then he said it doesn't. He still pretty much was buckled down. It was like he doesn't care.
He was changing the goalpost.
Yeah, move the goalpost. Yeah.
That's what was said. And he was like, well, if they don't have, I think, over 40 wins, why are we even talking about them? If they're not, if they didn't win a championship, why are we talking? We shouldn't even be talking about them. I'm like, what? Then we should only be talking about the Celtics then, if that's the case. Anywho, fast forward to TNT. They talk about the Pistons again after the game, and he thought that Chauncey Billups was the coach of the Pistons. Like, what? He was a former player for the Pistons, but he's been the coach of the Portland Trailblazers for years now. Dame was still on the Trailblazers when Chauncey Billups was the coach of the Trailblazers. That's how long it's been. And for him to say that is
baffling.
Like, what? But I give him a little bit of pass. You slip up then there. But the fact that he then goes to say, I don't even watch the Pistons. And that's your job is just outrageous. It's egregious for a former NBA great that's getting paid so much money. By the way, did you know that TNT is paying him $15 million per year? $15 million per year. He doesn't watch the sport. He just goes there and freestyle on national TV being an analyst.
That's crazy. Like, y'all can't even, like, feed him stuff to say. Y'all just letting him make your product look bad.
Yo. And then the last thing, hating on Zion.
Yeah, I did see that.
He said after Zion dropped a triple-double in a win versus the Clippers, he said, you giving him props for that? I need more. Anybody can get 20 points now. That's not good enough. I'm not impressed by that. What? Zion has been averaging close to 25.7 rebounds, 5 assists since he's come back from injury. He's dropped the weight. He's in shape. He's been fantastic. He looks explosive. He looks great. And he just doesn't give him credit. He has 5 games with 9+ assists, true triple-doubles in the last 6 games, and 20+ points in 6 straight games, and has appeared in 21 of the last 30 games. Why can't we give the dude credit? What's wrong with giving him credit? And he was like, low clap. What's up with the hating?
At this, I don't even know. I think it's just the old head thing. You just become a hater when you get old. I don't know.
And then he talks about how well they're losing. Yeah, because they don't have the players.
And I think they still injured, ain't they?
Yes.
Yeah.
How are they going to win when they're injured? What's his name?
Trey Murphy,
and
Herb
Jones.
They still hurt. Dang.
They're gone for the year. What are we talking about? So why are you hating? No context. This is the problem with the NBA. They don't bring up any context around what's going on with teams, what's going on with players. They just say, oh, well, why are they losing? They shouldn't be losing. You should be putting up this amount of points. It's not that simple. There's things that's happening around them to why things are happening like this. Why these circumstances are happening. Zion Williamson has been fantastic. He's been efficient. He's been one of the better finishers at the basket. He's been one of the most double-teamed players in the NBA, and he's still averaging that much. I think he only is getting like 28 minutes and he's averaging like close to 25 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, shooting at remarkable efficiency. What am I missing here? Why are you hating on something like that? I just don't understand with people like him, Charles Barkley, Stephen A., all these people that are clearly not watching the game. And when they're getting called out that they're not watching the game, they get all mad. They get all disgruntled. Kendrick Perkins, I'm not the biggest fan of Kendrick Perkins, but one thing I think he watches the games. Yeah. He watches the game. He gives, I'm not going to say decent analysis, but at least he gives some type of analysis. While with Charles Barkley and Shaq, these dudes clearly do not watch the game at all. And Charles Barkley is going to complain, why aren't we showing more of the Thunder? Why aren't we showing more of these teams when you don't even watch those teams? And Shaq was laughing right there with him when you're part of the problem. I just can't stand these dudes, man. I just can't.
Yeah, I think it'll be better when that show is off.
And it's sad that I was like, man, I'm going to miss them. But
they crashing out.
But then as I see what's going on right now, I realize that, you know what, it's better that they're gone. But they're going to be on ESPN.
Yeah.
So they're going to continue saying these dumb stuff, these dumb narratives. They're not doing no research.
This time they'll have Stephen A. on the show this time, though.
They don't do no research. They don't watch no games. And then they just stay with the same old narratives that they said 5 years ago. Like I mentioned in a video where I talked about how all these media people that don't watch the games, that aren't covering the games, that aren't telling it how it really is, are just saying the same old narratives from 5 years ago. And you know what? Let's transition, because I want to talk about Lou Williams and that comment towards Giannis. The same old narrative from 5 years ago has been spewing about Giannis. Oh, he hasn't improved his game. He hasn't added anything to his game. That is a bold-faced lie. He said, hey, I would really love Giannis to add a mid-range. Bro, he's one of the best mid-range scorers in the league. All you have to do is go on NBA.com and search up his efficiency from the mid-range. And he's shooting in comparison. So last year, he shot from 15 to 19 feet, he shot 34%. And from 10 to 14, he shot 32.9%. Guess what he's shooting now? From 15 to 19 feet, he's shooting 47.3%. From 10 to 14 feet, he's shooting 47.8%. So what are we talking about? He's clearly added the mid-range to his game.
Yep.
That is a significant jump in 1 year. And he's still averaging 30.
Yep.
He's still averaging over 10 rebounds. He's still a great defender. And yet, we still want to just keep kicking him and stuff, digging on him, taking shots at him, and using old narratives from 5 years ago. No, he is not just run and dunk guy. That's just not who he is. And he's improved when it comes to passing out of double teams, playmaking. Why do we not talk about these things? Why do we always spew the same old narratives? These former players are not good at talking the game of basketball. Just because you played the game doesn't mean you're good at talking about it, because you're not watching the games every single night and getting paid millions by these companies to talk about the game. They're stealing money. Stealing it. What is your thoughts on that comment?
As one of the top Giannis fans in the league, absolutely ridiculous. I said, man, why do we keep putting mics in front of these former players, expecting them to really know what they talking about? Did you see what Brandon Jennings said about Drew Holiday?
What did he say? Oh,
he said Drew Holiday has never been better than Brandon Jennings. You and Drew Holiday damn near the same age. He's still in the league.
And guess what? Drew Holiday has made all-star teams. All defensive teams. Brandon Jennings never made that.
Brandon Jennings, his career highlight is that one time he dropped 50 points.
Right.
That's what Brandon Jennings will be remembered for in his career. Mm-hmm. Drew Holiday is a multi-time All-Star, NBA champion, should have been Defensive Player of the Year. That's a different story. Like, come on, man. We got to stop the foolishness. First it was the old heads, hey, and now we got the dudes we literally saw play
Not too long ago.
to hating. Like, come on, we got to cut it out.
Yeah. No, you're right.
It's a bad trajectory.
Draymond, Charles Barkley, Shaq, all these dudes, they want to say, oh, you don't know the game, you never played it. But when you talk about the game, we could clearly see that you're not watching it.
And you know what's funny about that? You don't know the game. Y'all not even giving real analysis. Y'all are just saying the same stuff the people on TV be saying.
And Twitter. And by the way, Stephen A., I remember weeks ago talked about how, these players, they're mad at the media, the old media, but you're confusing it with people on Twitter. No. And by the way, Legend of Winnings, he talked about this on his podcast where these media people, these old media people, they get a lot of their topics from Twitter.
Yes, they do.
So how hypocritical can you be? The fact that you are trying to separate yourself from people on Twitter when you get most of your topics from Twitter. The LeBron James stuff is from Twitter. That is all from Twitter. And they said, you know what? You know what we need to do? How about all the conversations on Twitter, let's bring it to national TV when people don't give a damn. For real, they're just trolls.
Exactly.
Haters of LeBron.
You know how many times they have took quotes that were just blatantly wrong? Centel, Ball Sack Sports. Like, clearly quality controllers. Y'all clearly getting stuff from Twitter. Because y'all are falling for fake quotes and misinformation. Right. You can't absolve the blame.
Media, former players are all the same. It's just different resumes. That's all it is. They use the same old talking points, same old narratives. They don't watch the games.
Like, it's not even real journalism at this point.
We see the bullshit, and I love it. I love that people are calling them out because 10 years ago, this was not the case. People were not calling these journalists, I wouldn't even call them journalists, these just media personalities. When they called them the media personalities out and even former players out that are covering the game, we would just take it as facts. We would just take it as it is. But now, you can't do that anymore. People are fact-checking. We have analytics. We have all these different sites that have advanced analytics that have been keeping score of these player stats, have been keeping score of everything that these players are doing. You cannot spin the narrative. You cannot lie on TV anymore. You cannot put out disinformation, misinformation about players anymore because we're watching, we're seeing it more times than not. We see more games on nationally televised TV than ever before. You cannot lie anymore. This is not the 90s. This is not the 80s where some games you just can't find.
The national media, in my opinion, they no longer control the narrative.
We have League Pass. We have ESPN. We have streaming services. We can find the games now. Legal streaming. We can find the games. We can find film.
We can go on YouTube and watch games.
YouTube, they have highlights. We have everything. You cannot
There's
lie
people that
anymore.
break down the games on YouTube.
This is not the 80s and 90s where some games you just cannot find and you have to go off of what a reporter is reporting. That is not happening no more. You cannot get away with it anymore. I see the 90s films. I see the 80s films. I see how players were cones on defense. I see how players were just standing around and you couldn't even play zone defense because it was illegal at one point. We see it. We see it. You cannot lie anymore. I love it. I love what's happening right now. Moving on, last topic of the day. Speaking of media, Stephen A. He can't just shut up. He can't just leave it alone. He has to go on a world tour to talk about it. LeBron James, so last week, Stephen A., he went on his podcast and talked about the situation involving LeBron James pressing him during a game. So, we thought, all right, Stephen A., he seems like he's all sad and stuff, trying to act like it. He started to go on a world tour. to talk about it. He went on Fox. He went on Gils Arena.
Yep.
He went on Gils Arena and talked about how he thought it was weak.
Shoot, he
It
might have
was
went on
some
Skip
BS.
show and said something. I don't even know.
I saw it. He didn't really talk about
Okay.
it. He just talked about the GOAT debate,
Okay.
MJ versus LeBron. But yeah, he said, I thought it was weak. I thought it was some bullshit. But in the moment, I knew that I was listening to a father. Here's my thing with that. Just looking back, I will say that LeBron, the way that he communicated it was wrong. Because the way that it was interpreted, it was like, you disrespecting my son.
Yeah.
Leave my son alone. Stop talking about my son. But that's not really what he was getting at. He was getting at the fact that Stephen A. was criticizing him as a father.
Yeah.
That was what was the problem. And he just made it personal. Dwayne Wade and Carmelo, I think they're the best at talking about this. They talked about it on Carmelo's podcast. And Dwayne Wade was saying, yeah, I would have walked up on him too. I would have pressed him too. And Dwayne Wade, he understands that, yeah, LeBron, that tweet that he made about Bronny's better than half of these players in the league was wrong. Like, you put a target on his back. And I think if Stephen A. would have did to where he brought up the tweet, like, Bronny had a bad game. That game against the 76ers, he brought up that tweet and said, hey, Bron, I guess Bronny ain't better than half of these players in the league. I would have been like, that's cool. But he had to take it farther. He had to take it further than what it needs to be. And LeBron said, okay, you take it there, I take it further. And that's what he did. He pressed him. And there's clips of Stephen A. saying, hey, you can pull up on me. I'm at the games. I'm in the locker room.
Yeah.
So now when LeBron James pulls up on you, you have a problem, and you have to go on a world tour to all of a sudden saying it's weak and it's bullshit, and you crying about it. Come on, man. You look weak. That's weak.
But Roman says, oh, man, that's garbage.
That's garbage. So how you feel about that, man?
I think this is just ridiculous. If Stephen A. just would have shut his mouth from the jump and not make it something that it really isn't, we wouldn't even be in the situation. Every cause has an effect. And what you did caused LeBron to do what he did. Now, LeBron is not wrong. Well, you said the way he communicated it.
The way he communicated was wrong.
Yes. But he's not wrong for stepping to you as a man. And be like, hey, listen, this ain't that. And Stephen A., you should have stood on business at that moment instead of just like, okay, whatever. Like, what you mean? Say something back.
Exactly.
You a man at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's LeBron James, Michael Jordan, I don't care who it is. You got to stand your ground. If you believed in what you said, and you got to stand on that. But you can't go after the fact and go on all these platforms and try to pop it now. That's not how that works.
Nah. You said it publicly. Now, when he confronts you publicly, you got to go back at him.
Exactly.
Come on now. Don't be scared now.
Don't try to throw Rich Paul in it either.
Don't get all cold feet now.
Yeah, don't say, oh, well, Rich Paul hit me up, and then I said, well, if he told me he wanted to talk, what I would have done, got on the plane. That's not the point, Steven. He talked to you at the most convenient time. Exactly. Why is he going to take time out of his day for something that could be solved in one little a 5-minute little thing? Like, come on, no one's doing all that. Right. We ain't talking business. Don't get on no plane. It's just weak, man. It's weak.
It's
completely unnecessary.
I don't get it, man. I don't get like what he keeps trying to play the victim. It's just sad. It's just really sad. And that's the problem with the media, man. They don't take accountability at all. He's one of those people that doesn't take accountability, and he thinks that he's the victim of it all, and that LeBron is wrong for what he did. And also other people, the Ryan Clarks, the Cam Newtons, all these people that are caping for Stephen A. Smith, you clearly don't understand why LeBron is mad. You just taking the word of what Stephen A. said, and you think that LeBron was mad because he criticized his son. No, he is not mad that he criticized his son. Yes, he communicated it wrong. But when you look at the clip of what made LeBron mad, it was the fact that he was criticizing his fatherhood. He was criticizing him as a father, and then in the background, there was footage of Bronny lowlights. Bronny missing shots. Bronny making mistakes.
The The journalism almost came out of him. He was about to say it was B-roll.
I was about to say B-roll. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Like, what are we doing? That's just something that a troll would do. He's just a troll at this point. And LeBron is looking at it like, number one, Dwayne Wade said that the fact that LeBron would press Stephen A. of all people is respect because he looks at him as the top guy at the media space. He didn't go up to Skip Bayless. He didn't go up to Bill Simmons or any of these dudes. He went up to Stephen A.
Yeah.
That's respect right there because he looks at him as the standard, the standard of media and stuff like that. I just think it's folks that defend Stephen A. I don't understand the Will Bonds. Oh yeah, Will Bond. Oh my God,
Who?
Will Bond, huh?
Who was? Oh,
Will
yeah.
Will
For
Bond.
PTI.
PTI,
Yeah.
Will Bond. People like that. Dude, y'all are missing the point, man. Y'all are missing the point. You think that LeBron, I understand what he said, but look at the clip again and ask yourself, was Stephen A. not being personal? Did he not cross a line? He did.
Yep.
You don't criticize that man's being a father.
It's corny.
Acting like he's forcing him to play, acting like he's forcing him to go to the military, like he's being tortured or something. Come on.
Like, he ain't going to war. Like, he's just playing
man.
basketball.
He's just playing basketball. He's a professional athlete. Stop making a big deal out of it. Okay, if he doesn't play well, he doesn't play well. Criticize his game.
It's rookies that got drafted in the first round that ain't even getting tick.
And then his whole argument in the Gils Arena was we talking about a 55th pick, dude. 55th pick. And Kenyon Martin was like, let it happen organic. Like, if you let it happen organically where if you want him to get drafted, let it happen organically. Don't try to tell these teams that, hey, it's a package deal. Me and him, if you draft him, I'll go with you. Shut up. Because if you are in that situation, obviously Kenyon Martin, he kind of was in the situation. But if you're LeBron of all people, and if you know that you can increase your son's chance of getting in the league by just saying this, why wouldn't you do that? That makes no sense. You have all the cachet in the world, all the credibility in the world. You're one of the greatest players we've ever seen and still one of the best players in the league. Why wouldn't you say that? Why wouldn't you do that? It makes absolutely no sense.
There's a deeper thing about that whole thing, and we're seeing it with Dion and Shador, but that's gonna have to be a different one. They're not ready for that one. They're not ready for that.
But man, why wouldn't you use your influence to help your son get in the league if he wants to be in the league?
I'll give him a hint of what the issue is when the who's Peyton and Eli father again? Archie.
Artie.
No, Artie.
No.
Is it Artie?
Damn, I forgot his name. God.
Whatever. When it was
He's
when
a Manning.
When Eli was like, I'm not playing for this team, it was cool. When they're doing their best, when Eli and Peyton is doing their best to make sure Arch Manning is be in the right situation, nothing. But Dion and Shador, we don't like that.
It's Archie Manning.
Archie Manning,
that's the father.
Okay, Archie, yeah, Archie. When he was doing it for Eli, no problem. When Peyton and Eli's doing it for Arch, no problem.
Mm-hmm.
Dion doing it for we don't like that. LeBron trying to get his son, we don't like that. And it's not even strictly about race, as some of y'all would believe. It's way deeper than that. It's ridiculous.
He's the 55th pick. Why
exactly.
Are you making such a big deal out of it? They barely get any playing time as it is. They don't translate as it is. And the fact that LeBron said, you know what, I'm gonna use my influence to make it almost certain that my son gets in the league. And by the way, also have it to where he has the best situation possible for him to succeed because he already has a relationship with the Lakers because his father plays for the Lakers. So his father knows the ownership. He knows how to develop. He knows the G League development system. Why wouldn't he want his son on the Lakers so he can keep tabs on him? He can give him pointers. He can put them in a developmental system that he's already familiar with. He knows all the coaches. Why wouldn't he do that? Why would he want his son to go to another team where that organization he's not familiar with? He doesn't have maybe as much relationships with. It just makes the most sense. most logical sense. And these people are saying, well, just let it happen organically. If you don't want all that criticism on him, let it happen organically, and then he'll get drafted. No, I'm not going to let it happen.
But then LeBron said he don't even have a problem with the criticism. He ain't say nothing until now.
Exactly, man. I just don't get it, bro. Like, these people are hypocrites. They're lying. If you were LeBron and you had that much power and influence where you can have your son play for the same team, and you know that might be the best situation for him to develop and become a nice player in the league, why wouldn't you want to use your influence? It just baffles my mind. The only mistake LeBron has ever made in all of this was that tweet.
Yeah.
And the fact that Stephen A. keeps using that as an excuse to be personal with LeBron's fathering, it's just egregious. Like, I just think that shouldn't be the reason why you should get personal with LeBron. That's not a good enough reason, in my opinion. And that's why I have a problem with what Stephen A. is doing right now. And with all the people that are caping for Stephen A., backing Stephen A. and what he said. I just think it's not right.
Yeah.
At all.
It's weak.
It's weak. Let's see here. Wonder if there's any games. I didn't put this on the notes, but any games that we should be gearing up for in the NBA. I know college basketball.
College
basketball. Hey, man, Maryland. We put belt to ass on Illinois. They had no chance. We're going to be getting to March Madness pretty soon. Thunder versus Pistons. I don't know why that's not on.
If Jalen Brunson was playing Knicks versus Warriors would be something I'd be interested.
Yeah, so
I'm gonna be binge watching Invincible. Finally caught up to the 3rd season. Yeah. Tomorrow.
Hey, man. All right, well,
yeah, it ain't really.
Yeah,
Thunder Bucks tomorrow.
Yeah, Thunder Bucks.
That's about
Thunder
it.
Pistons is actually a good one too.
That's Thunder Pistons.
Yeah, Thunder
Pistons
Pistons
cool.
Saturday. All right, well,
all these back-to-backs.
That'll do it on this edition of the Courtside View Podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment down below, hit the notification bell, follow the socials. Check out our main channel, Courtside View Podcast NFL. Link to the description will be there. And also check out our full podcast playlist. Links will be in the description for that as well. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys later. Peace.
Salute.
Just let me be me.